It's time for madness! Or at the very least anyway, the results from last year's madness. Yes indeed, hello and welcome at long last to our showcase video for the mods of the 2020 Morrowind Modding Madness Modding Competition. It has been a while, so for those of you who may have forgotten, the 2020 Madness Competition was a team-based modding competition where 6 modding teams set out to build a Daedra-themed mod with the additional randomly generated secondary themes of legends and construction over the course of a single month. And only 4 of those teams actually managed to complete their mods in time. And today, we're finally, after a year, taking a look at the final results. And, you know, Madness is always just an incredibly intensive and endurance-draining competition. So, you know, I do just want to say, congratulations are in order to just all the teams that finished. It is no easy task, and we got some excellent mods out of it. But anyway, as always, down links and timestamps are just down below, so let's begin with the first place winning mod of the 2020 Madness from Team Scuttling Scribs, composed of Danae, Merlord, Melchior, Dahrk, ProfArmitage, and XeroFoxx. We have Pimp My Shrine, the legend of
my champion!
What? No, Vernaccus, I am not your champion. I'm the mod showcaser.
You're wasting my precious time.
Wasting your time? Excuse me, but you interrupted me. I'm trying to do a showcase here. I mean, who do you even think you are?
I am Vernaccus, the legendary elusive beast. The unpursuable one.
Yes, you're very impressive. Now, stop breaking the fourth wall and let me do my job.
I didn't say you could stop now, did I?
Oh, that's it. Fine. Just play the trailer. I'll be right back. Oh, Vernaccus, come out wherever you are. I've got an arrow with your name on it. Aha!
There was a Daedra, so mighty, so fearsome, that he earned the title of the elusive beast and the unpursuable one. Melchior himself recognized my his power, for he is fearsome and mighty. His name is Vernaccus.
I think he's gone. Well, now let's get to the actual showcase here. Right, so this is a quest, dungeon, and shrine building mod involving the incredibly minor Daedra, Vernaccus, from the vanilla game book Vernaccus and Morlord. Now, with this mod, you'll find a new book in Jabash's Rare Books. That'll lead you to a new, buried Daedric shrine in the Shugorad region, dedicated to Vernaccus, seemingly abandoned with nary a worshipper around. But while any and all worshippers of Vernaccus may have abandoned him years ago, you can still talk to him at his statue, and far from being humbled after his years and years of abandonment, he is quite eager for the fame and prestige of a true Daedric prince, and he'll task you, as his new champion, who just happened to meet all of his qualifications by being literally the first person to stumble upon his shrine in years, to not just defend his shrine, but to expand it with fascinating new crafting and construction mechanics. There's a lot to unpack here, but basically, by killing enemies, whether they be angry residents come to pummel the shrine of Vernaccus, or various creatures and wildlife, or various NPCs, you'll gain soul shards which are an extremely handy resource for building and expanding your Daedric Shrine, with a multitude of different rooms and chambers that you can choose to just add onto your shrine here. And technically speaking, there's no actual limit to how many rooms you can add, at least not that I know of. But the cost in soul shards goes up with just each new room added, so practically speaking, there is a limit of sorts. There's only so many things you can kill. Plus, the frame rate will eventually get too low to be practical. But this is just such a cool feature. I have literally never seen anything like it before for Morrowind. You can select a room from the list here, like a gallery, or living chambers, or an armory, or a magic lab, or a greenhouse, or various empty rooms, or a shrine room, or so on and so forth, and it'll just appear with this really cool little animation effect. But soul shards aren't just used for building new rooms. Oh no! They can also be used to build furniture with this really nifty little menu that pops up with animated previews of each item, where you can select from one of roughly 100 or so just different furniture items to build, like lamps, or bookcases, or beds, or crystals, or practice dummies, or display cases, or music boxes, or chests, and so many other things. You can even interact and place objects in real time, moving them exactly into the position you want them to be in, and they even get highlighted in different colors to just represent that you've selected them. This entire mod is just one amazing showcase of the capabilities of MWSC Lewis scripting, and it is absurd that this mod still, after about a year, has only under 100 endorsements on the Nexus. I mean, seriously, this is, from a technical standpoint, one of the most impressive mods of 2020. But, anyway, here you can actually see some rooms that I've decorated with furniture that you can craft and place using soul shards, and there's really just a lot of options here. And again, this was a mod made in a single month. 1 month, that's it. And this team managed to make an entire crafting and shrine building system and mechanic seemingly just out of thin air. It really is. It is amazing. And there's a lot of scripted components that you can build here, from teleport portals that you can name and then use to teleport to different parts of your Daedric Shrine, to scripted alchemy stations, music boxes, practice dummies that you can actually wail on, and just a lot more. Of course, there's more here than just building your own Daedric Shrine and finishing it. There's also new quests, new dungeons, new puzzles to solve, and mazes to try and make your way through, with lots and lots of scripted elements, and new boss battles, and just so much more. And I feel like I keep saying that, like there's always more with this mod, which again, made in a month. That shouldn't be possible, but there you go. And all this just looks absolutely fantastic. Like, on average, a lot of the interiors here look like something out of Skyrim, and the quality is just without question. It's pretty clear to see why this overwhelmingly won Morrowind Modding Madness, getting a score of 274 out of 300 from our judges, just a wee bit shy of a perfect score. I would consider this just one of the best mods, not just of Madness, but of 2020. And I cannot possibly recommend it enough. You really should just check it out. But coming in second place, we have the entry from Team Ancient Androids, composed of Enclave Killer, Tel Shadow, Rubberman, Safebox, and Stripes, with Invasion of Stormwatch. And with a dramatic name like that, you just know you're in for a good time. But anyway, this is a bit more of a classical quest and dungeon mod, with a new adventure awaiting you after you've completed the first part of the Morrowind main quest. It seems there's been an uprising by inmates at a high-security prison on an isolated island, and they've taken hostages. And you'll need to travel to Fort Stormwatch, infiltrate the prison, rescue the hostages, stop the uprising, and await reinforcements. But, as you might imagine with a theme like Daedra, there's something a little more sinister going on than just a simple prison riot. You'll have to get inside the fort under cover of night. The walls are high and perilous, manned with heavily armed inmates, so you'll have to go in through the well, dropping down into a pool of water below, where the only way forward is through the catacombs, which are, of course, haunted with the spirits of the dead, because, of course they are. These catacombs, by themselves, are a fairly decent-sized dungeon, but they serve as only the introduction to the rest of Fort Stormwatch, as you'll find, at the very least, a couple of hours of dungeon-delving content in this fairly massive mod. Invasion of Stormwatch is a dungeon mod in the classical D&D sense, meaning you'll go through numerous chambers full of heavily armed enemies, find the occasional friendly NPC who might have a side quest for you to do, and go on a variety of adventures within the setting of a massive dungeon. You will, of course, be in for a bit of a fight. This dungeon is meant for players level 15 through 20, and it is chock full of encounters where you'll be dealing with swarms of enemies just all at once, with chaotic, fast-paced combat, including melee, ranged, and magical attacks just all going off at the same time. These are challenging fights, but honestly, they're kind of invigorating, and certainly just a lot more fun than the vanilla dungeon fights you might be used to. Your main objectives as you fight through this overrun prison are to secure the hostages, open the front gates, disable the ballista defenses, and kill the leader of this band of cultists that's taken over the prison. And this is a band of cultists worshipping Malag Bal, by the way. It's a little unclear at first what their objectives are, but they do have some sinister motives that I won't spoil here. Along the way, as you go through this dungeon, you'll make friends, get a squad of soldiers to fight alongside you, and explore some pretty nicely detailed dungeon environments. And it's worth noting that Invasion of Stormwatch comes with just an all-new tile set, unique to this mod, making this dungeon experience just all the more special for just being unlike anything else in Morrowind. With lots and lots of dungeon delving for you to do, scripted encounters for you to face, cultist shrines to destroy, quests to go on, and just so much more, Invasion of Stormwatch was just one of the biggest dungeon mods to be released in 2020, and I think it was actually the second largest, behind only Ob, Tombs and Towers. And as I keep pointing out, this was a mod made in only 1 month. And that is pretty impressive, and I know I personally just really enjoyed my time playing it. I don't want to spoil too much of the content here, but suffice to say, it impressed the judges with a final score of 243 points out of 300. It got knocked a bit for functionality due to some scripting issues in the early releases, but regardless, this is a well-deserved second place finish for Team Ancient Androids, and an absolute great dungeon romp to just play for yourself. In third place, we have Team Tenacious Templars, composed of Carice, Draconic, Ruffin Vangar, Endorian, and Satinol, with contributions from Tel Shadow, Devshaw, and Wagonator, with the entry Vaermina's Quest, Dreams of the Escaped. This mod begins when you encounter a man suffering from terrible nightmares in Dagenfell, and from this, you'll be sent off to find a mysterious cavern filled with places of rest and, strangely, the corpses of those who did rest in this dark, dreary, and damp cavern. Should you investigate, eventually you'll come across a shrine to Vaermina, the Daedric prince of dreams and nightmares, and it should become pretty obvious what happened to everyone else who took a nap in this dungeon. Obviously, you don't want to take a nap near Vaermina. You never know what you're going to get. But anyway, she has a quest for you to do, and to gather up the pieces of one of her artifacts, the... I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, the Somnium Needle? Let's just call it Vaermina's Needle. Someone has broken the needle into 3 parts and scattered them in the nightmares of the dead, and you'll have to travel through each of their dark and twisted dreams to find the pieces of Vaermina's Needle and return them to a shrine. This is possibly the smallest of the mods submitted for the 2020 Madness competition, with a more purely traditional Daedric Prince questline than, the other ones that we've taken a look at. But it is deeply moody and atmospheric, with each of the 3 nightmares challenging you in just different ways, with maze-like environments, familiar places, and large, haunting mansions for you to travel through as you piece together not only Vaermina's Needle, but also stitch together the story of those whose dreams that you're traveling through. While not a large mod, it does feature some truly interesting and unique scripted encounters. And there's not a whole lot of Vaermina quest mods from Morrowind, so, it's certainly nice to see this Daedric Prince of Nightmares given a proper quest line. I don't want to spoil the whole thing though, so I'll just note that this mod scored a total of 229 points out of 300. It was knocked a bit for functionality, with a few bugs and construction errors here and there, but overall it's a pretty neat quest, and for those wanting to experience the nightmare realm of Vaermina, it's definitely a fun little mod to just check out here. Finally, in 4th place, we have the entry from Team Lazy Lame Corporate Stalkers, composed of Random Pal, Vegetto, Lucival, Nats482, and Bruja Loco, with Tel Aruhn Chronicles. As the name here implies, this one is a bit different from the other mods submitted for the 2020 Madness. While most of the entries focused heavily on the Daedra themes with dungeons and quests and all that, Tel Aruhn Chronicles contains a city overhaul for Tel Aruhn. Though, given who's all on this team, perhaps that's not really that surprising. In any event, this mod adds a new set of cliffs between the city of Tel Aruhn and the Dogs, so, you'll have to go through the tunnels to get into the town proper. And it also expands the slave market, increases the height of the central tower, getting those sweet verticality points, and also lightly details the top of the tower a bit. There's even a few interior overhauls here, with a reworked interior for Gothrend's Tower, utilizing a ton of assets from old data to just, to give the tower a more unique and properly Telvanni feel, with a number of magical items and equipment, such as an alchemy station, and some sort of enchanting table, just among other things. This isn't the only interior Chronicles overhauls. There's also some lightweight overhauls for some of the other interiors, mostly just with the addition of minor old data clutter, just here and there. But the biggest addition to the city here actually comes from the Tel Aruhn Underground, which in the vanilla game was pretty much just a single long hallway. But now it's home to a tavern where you can buy a few drinks, snuggle up with a skooma pipe in the corner, maybe play a game of 3 cups and probably lose. I'm pretty sure it's rigged. or chat up some of the customers, and of course, the main addition to the underground is the marketplace. A colourful chamber of market stalls with goods from just all around Tamriel, including a number of merchants, some of whom have just a bit of unique dialogue. Outside the festival slave market, the underground is rumoured to contain dungeons beneath it, with the tunnels going further down into the darkness below, but I'll leave that for you to discover. In any event, the main quest here actually begins in Wolverine Hall, with a mission from the Fighters Guild to track down 3 missing members. They apparently disappeared while helping an eccentric scholar that you'll find in the tavern in Tel Aruhn. He's evidently after some sort of local legend, with the belief that perhaps he can discover an artifact of the Night Mother in Tel Aruhn, or possibly the nearby Daedric shrine of Yansuramis? Yes, that is definitely how you pronounce that. That's definitely it. Nope, didn't mispronounce that, no way. Totally nailed it. Alright. But anyway, this will launch you off onto the meat of the questing content here. But there's also new miscellaneous quests, a ton of new unique dialogue for existing NPCs, and other things for you to do while in Tel Aruhn. But real quick, we'll take a brief look at the main dungeon delving content here, with an overhaul and expansion of... I have to say it again. Oh, heavens. Yansuramis. There's a fair bit of content added here, with a few twists and turns, and even a new boss battle, but again, I don't want to spoil the whole thing, so just, suffice to say, you'll be in for a few treats. Regardless, this was one of the smaller entries for Madness, and that's kinda reflected in the score, with only 219 points out of a possible 300. But it's probably the best content-themed overhaul for Tel Aruhn, and indeed, it's already been merged into BCOM, or Beautiful Cities of Morrowind. If you want a more lively and interactive Tel Aruhn with some decent dungeons to boot, you should absolutely give this a try, and if you have BCOM, well, you've already got it installed, so, why not play it? Anyway, that's everything from the Madness competition. There were some truly great mods released last year, and I'm sure Sheogorath has been appeased. But as always, downlinks are just down below, and before we go, I would like to just, thank our patrons. We couldn't make videos without you. Special thanks goes to Area 5/Sunbalmean, Billy Fighter, Kiwi, Cyprinius, Danae, Daliant, Danina, Yame Alcazo Castornau, Julian, Langastier, Macbone, Melchior Dahrk, Michael, Mr. the Joshman, Null Cascade, Old Navy Twidget, Operator Jack, Port Hughes, Poviholo, Raven Talon, Rissley, Shadow Banish Wine, Shooter, Soka Cat, Stiff Kitten, Telvani with 1,000 nicknames, and 2-timing Trauma Root. If you'd like to join them, check out our rewards, including early access, behind-the-scenes content, and access to polls to, just decide what kind of content we showcase. Visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/Morrowind Modding. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe, stay healthy, happy modding, and I'll see you all next time.